So welcome to today's Tech Tuesday. This is a discussion on utilizing collaboration tools. This is this week's skill shop, or today's skill shop, better said. Let's see. There we go. All right, so the description of today's skill shop is simple. We will be exploring and discussing a range of collaborative tools designed to streamline teamwork, communication, and project management. Whether working on a group assignment, conducting a research project, or planning for a class production, this workshop will equip you with the knowledge and skills to leverage these tools effectively, fostering seamless collaboration and boosting overall productivity. Before we do that, I did have an online scavenger hunt set for this. The only person here, so see how it goes. So the instructions for the online scavenger hunt would have been, find the most popular song for the year of each person in your team's birth. Obviously, there are no teams, so we're not going to be doing that. Find a GIF, a meme, a music video, or a joke on a Twitter, now known as X, account that best represents Miami-Dade College. Find everyone in your group's high school on Google Maps and take a picture. Find one current edition textbook for everybody's major. And find the mascot of everyone in your group's dream school or the institution you hope to attend post-MDC. Again, this would be great if there were more people here, but it's just me, so we're going to skip over this. Okay, so a lot of what I had put together for this presentation was geared towards an audience of just more than the host. So I'm not going to really answer how it was working together on the scavenger hunt. What are some examples of collaboration seen here in Miami-Dade? So I can't answer this. In the college, the collaboration between various departments and agencies within the campus itself. So Student Life collaborates with the Dean of Students. Access Department may collaborate with Student Life on an event. The Revest and Continuing Education departments may work together. Various disciplines within the social sciences may work together. So that is essentially how we collaborate. And then students collaborate with their professors when they're going through the details of a project, so to speak. When the professor says, we're going to be doing this by this date, due at this time, students might say, whoa, let's work something out. Maybe we can get it in a couple of days, but instead we do some more work. So collaboration is seen all over Miami-Dade College. Even in learning resources, you collaborate with library staff when it comes for you trying to find a better book. You collaborate with financial aid and trying to find the best scholarships to save you the most money. You collaborate with admissions when wondering, okay, what classes am I going to take? What major am I going to decide? So in what settings might we find collaboration in action? Well, pretty much anywhere. The workforce, academia, business is a very good example of collaboration. Tech is another example of where collaboration is in action. And why would people want to collaborate on a project or a task? Well, two heads are better than one, as the old saying goes. If two people are working together to solve one problem, there are now two ways to solve that problem, or two fixed ways to solve that problem. So people are going to want to work together on a project or collaborate on a task because they want to be more efficient. They want to get things done on time. And because you have different flows of ideas coming in, and it allows you to really get a full picture of what everybody can provide and offer to the project at hand. So collaboration, the action of working with someone to produce or create something. So in all three of these images up here, we have people coming together, working to produce or create something. In the first one, you have, looks like an architect with a project manager, and you have some more construction workers down here. So what are they doing? They're building a structure. Could be a bridge, could be a skyscraper, could be a train station. We don't know, but they are collaborating. They're putting their resources and their skills together so that they can tackle this project. They can tackle this duty. What about our friends here at In-N-Out Burger in California? Well, they are also collaborating. The kitchen staff of a fast food restaurant, something that we might pass by every day on our way home from work, on our way home from school, is collaboration in action. There's someone working the drive-through. Somebody is manning the greasers to take fries out of the fryer. Someone is working at the cashier. Somebody is cleaning tables. Somebody is prepping sandwiches. Someone is packing food into the bags. That is all collaboration in action. We are working together to produce the customer's order or create the order that the customer requested. And this last image here, we have several human beings piled together looking like they're going to form a human structure, a human pyramid of sorts. And you're all collaborating. There's a strong base at the bottom, a smaller but just as strong base at the second level, and then three people, and so on and so forth. All these people collaborated with one another so that they could find out what works best for them. I believe we have our first attendee. That is incredible. All right. Good afternoon, Mackendy. Appreciate you stopping by. If you can just leave your student ID number in the chat, that would be great. Okay. Well, we're going to continue on. Mackendy, feel free to just interject, listen as well. If you have any questions, there will be a question component at the end, but yeah, you'll get that opportunity. So let's make this a slideshow again. Okay. So, Mackendy, you're the only person here, so I'll speak as if I'm speaking to you. We're talking about collaboration. Collaboration is the action of working with someone to produce or create something. See the different examples up here. At the bottom, I wrote in blue, collaboration is all around us. It is an essential component of the human and social experience. Where man has a dream, he utilizes the skills and abilities of others to turn that dream into a reality. Just because it says man, you know, it could be anybody. Anybody who has a dream, if they really want to make it come true, they may work with somebody else to make that dream turn into a reality. That is collaboration, coming together for a fixed project in the end. So people have been working together for as long as they have roamed the earth. They found it to be successful. It's the way that they have been able to achieve their utmost desires. In the top photo, we have some Neanderthals ready to take on a woolly mammoth. All of these people, all those Neanderthals with their spears and their garments, they are collaborating as to how they're going to take down the woolly mammoth. The Roman Empire collaborated for centuries, and that's how they went on to be one of the most famous, if not the most famous empire in the world. Indigenous folks also collaborated amongst each other, seeing who had the better skills to do this, who had the better skills to do that, whether it be fishing, making clothes, tending to the children, the various roles. Our founding fathers also collaborated. They came together to create the U.S. Constitution, and that collaboration was various opinions on what style of government the new country should incorporate, opinions discerning from where they were coming from. You had delegates from New York, delegates from Georgia, delegates from Virginia, all coming together for one common purpose, to create a government system for the new nation. The Amish collaborate and still collaborate to this day in a practice known as barn raising. The Amish are not as reliant on electricity as the rest of society is. They do use some things like, you know, generators and batteries every now and then, but the Amish have historically and traditionally been known as a technology-free society, excuse me. So barn raising is an example of collaboration in action. This famous photo here, lunch atop a skyscraper in the 1920s, I believe, late 1920s, early 30s. You have these iron workers in New York City just sitting 650 feet above the ground below them in the construction of 30 Rockefeller Plaza. And all these men just sitting here, they all collaborated to work together to build the buildings that we see today and the skyscrapers that dot the New York skyline. So what is the main idea here? People have been working together for as long as they have roamed the earth. People find it useful to put their skills together and find some common ground towards successful completion of a project. So we know what collaboration is. We know that people have been doing it for a long time. So, well, what can we use to collaborate? What are the collaboration tools? Well, collaboration tools are apps or services designed to provide easy methods of collaboration amongst users. These types of tools are frequently used in workplace, but also play an important role in academia. And we will go over some of those tools in a few minutes. Introduction to collaborative tools, and I'll be very quick with this. So Microsoft, they came out with a quote that said, "Every business benefits from great teamwork." True. Collaboration among team members is key, whether you're selling a floral design or building the next smartphone app. Excellent collaboration requires excellent communication. So the key to successful collaboration is successful communication. And the quality of that communication, studies show, is far more valuable than the quantity. So it doesn't matter how much information you're receiving. What matters is that the information you are getting is of quality. It actually is going to be beneficial for what it is you're trying to accomplish. Even in academia, the importance of collaboration is essential for achieving breakthroughs in research, producing works of literary and performance art, solving complex problems and equations, and much more. Collaboration takes place every day in academia. As students, you are constantly collaborating with professors, staff members, faculty members, and each other in facilitating your completion of tasks and solving problems. So you have a problem, your brain thinks about it, and then you have an idea, and there we go. And collaboration is all these processes, but multiple people attacking these processes and trying to come out with a whole product. So let's quickly discuss. In what settings have you used collaboration tools? And Mackenzie, feel free to answer these if you want to. Otherwise, I'll just provide the example because this is going to be recorded and posted. Or you can also just type in your responses into the chat. We can do that too. So in what settings have you used collaboration tools? All right. So you write Mackenzie collaboration tools. Yeah. In what settings have you that I have used examples of, that I have used, for example, at school, we make teamwork. Exactly. Correct. That is a one type of collaboration. Yeah. Working amongst each other is the process of collaboration. So that's good. Now, the question is, which collaboration tools have you used, if you've used any? I can tell you from personal experience, I have used Slack. Slack is a very efficient messaging system. During my bachelor's degree at FIU, my journalism professor would frequently message us over Slack, letting us know, what errors we had to fix on our articles and making sure that our quotes were well put together. But definitely, yeah, school is surely an environment where collaboration is definitely fostered. You're constantly working with other people while you are in academia. How was your experience using these tools? So in my experience using Slack, Slack was very efficient. Didn't really have any problems with it. It was easy to make an account. I would highly recommend it to anybody who needs a messaging software for a class or just wants to communicate, collaborate. Slack is a good way to get to that. And what type of tasks would you use a collaboration tool for? Okay, sure. So we'll go over some of these tools, Mackenzie. We'll definitely get you exposed to a couple of them. And you would use collaboration tools pretty much for any task that requires the facilitation of two people working together effectively. So you could use collaboration tools for management, for organizing project ideas, scheduling things. Correct. Collaboration is one of the best ways to succeed, indeed. All right, so let's keep going. Okay, so this is the main part, I would say, of our presentation today, or of this Skillshop. Types of collaborative tools. Now, some of these tools you might have seen already once before. I mentioned Slack, Microsoft Teams. These are communication and messaging tools. They utilize real-time messaging and chat for efficient communication and integrating additional features like file sharing and video calls. Project management and task tracking. You have apps like Trello and Asana. And these apps are known for creating and assigning tasks, setting deadlines, and tracking progress. Collaborative project boards for enhanced visibility and coordination. So in many ways, Trello and Asana, you could say, are the organizational collaborative apps. They're the ones who sort of keep people in line, let them know, hey, listen, we got to do this by this date. And it allows you to stay much more organized and coordinate your projects effectively. Cloud-based document collaboration. This is probably the most famous or the most well-known form of collaboration amongst professionals and students. Microsoft OneDrive, Google. So you have simultaneous editing and version control for seamless teamwork, and sharing the permissions for secure data management. So one of the best things about Google Drive and Microsoft OneDrive is if you share a document through any of these systems, you need to get approval before you can start editing and making changes. So there is that level of added security. Virtual meetings and webinars, Google Meet, Zoom. We all know Zoom. We're actually using a collaborative tool right now to discuss the benefits of collaborative tools. What are the odds? Hosting webinars for knowledge, sharing, and training purposes. That is the purpose of Zoom. And engaging participants with interactive features. Zoom has various interactive features that, such as annotations, erasers, a spotlight feature. And these types of interactions allow us to learn better, get more in depth with what we're trying to understand. And it ultimately creates for a much better learning experience, a collaborative experience. And then last but not least is collaborative brainstorming and idea management. And this would be through programs like Mural and Miro. I have not used Mural and Miro personally, but I do know that both of these programs are good for facilitating virtual brainstorming sessions with remote teams. So if you have a group of people who is in New York City, and then the people you need for your project are based in San Francisco or in Seattle, these programs, these apps allow you to meet one another. And of course, organizing and refining ideas collaboratively. One of the main things that I want to take away from all this is the idea of distance being a hindrance, an obstacle to people completing the tasks that they needed to do. Again, someone on Wall Street being unable to meet with their shareholders in San Francisco through collaborative tools, that's no longer an obstacle. We can meet with people anywhere in the world. We can Zoom them. We can Google Meet them. And we have access to, we can see their face. We can hear their voice. We can talk with them in real time. And that is the beauty of collaborative tools and how they have made our world a much more accessible and efficient place in the process. So where can you get these tools? If you're interested, you can get them either in Google Play or in the App Store. They are readily available to anybody with a smartphone and anybody with the technology capable of downloading these apps. All right, so we're going to watch a couple videos, 3 videos actually. They're all less than 5 minutes, and they're all just going to go through best collaborative software, 5 collaboration tools, and then this final video here by Microsoft Ed that will be sort of a segue into the next slide. So I'm going to open the first one here. Let's take a look. Okay, so that was a nice short video. I think it's very relatable to a a lot of students. We oftentimes are trying to get as much done as we can, and we end up dozing off and having to wait for the last second to get those things done. So why did I finish with the Microsoft video? Well, it feeds into this next side. Access to collaboration tools as MDC students. Now, of course, you have access to all of these apps through the App Store or through Google Play. You can download them, install them, do whatever you want. But in this regard, in regard specifically to Microsoft, in a partnership with eligible institutions, Microsoft offers students and employees free access to Office 365. This includes Excel spreadsheet, Word document, PowerPoint that we're using right now. It also includes collaborative tools, though, like Microsoft Excel. Well, I just mentioned that. Microsoft OneDrive and Microsoft Teams. Microsoft OneDrive was the one that we saw in the video presentation with the gentleman who had to sign out of his friend's phone, signed into his account with her phone, and was able to submit his assignment. That is the beauty of collaborative tool. So just in case you don't know, Mackenzie, how to get access to Microsoft 365, or for anybody else who watches this video and wants to know, to get access to Microsoft 365 as a student, you'll click on the link here, and I will share the screen with you all. Okay, and it'll bring you to this screen. And in here, you'll enter your MDC credentials. It might ask you to sign in with your username and your password. Maybe agree to a couple things, and then it will give you access to Microsoft 365. But this is here available to everybody. So again, anybody who watches this video now or watches it in the future, as a student or as an educator of MDC, you do get access to Microsoft Office 365 for free. Doesn't cost you a penny. And with the amount of essays that students write and the amount of presentations they have to give, this is a very, very essential service that we are grateful to Microsoft for giving to the students. PowerPoint. Okay, so let's continue. All right, so let's look at the benefits of collaboration technology. So there's three main things. Enhanced teamwork. There's a couple, but these are the three ones that I pulled. Enhanced teamwork. Collaboration tools facilitate seamless teamwork by enabling team members to work together on projects, assignments, and tasks in real time. They provide a centralized platform for communication, file sharing, task management, and ensuring everyone is on the same page. So it keeps everybody together, keeps everybody organized, focused, ready to go. It improves communication. Collaboration tools offer various communication channels such as instant messaging, video conferencing, and commenting on shared documents. These features promote efficient and effective communication among team members, regardless of their physical location. So I mentioned distance is no longer an excuse, so to speak, at least for the majority of people, I would say, in regards to being able to not meet or meet somebody. Now you have all the applications that you could think of, Skype, Zoom, Teams, that allow us to meet with others even when we are not physically present around them. And lastly, time and cost savings. If there's anything that people like to save, is time and money. And collaborative tools do that by eliminating the need for physical meetings, reducing email clutter, and improving communication and coordination. Collaborative tools save time and increase efficiency. If you had to drive somewhere to meet somebody, Zoom saves you gas. It saves you wear and tear on your car. If you take public transportation, it saves you bus or rail fare. It does do that for you. And it also saves you time. If you had to meet somebody at 3:30, but you live 40 minutes away, you'd have to probably leave at your house ahead of time and head on over. Not exactly. If you're meeting somebody virtually, you could sign into your meeting 5-10 minutes before. If you're ready to go, you're ready to go. You just pop up there. This can lead to cost savings for organizations or individuals by optimizing resources and minimizing unnecessary expenses. You mentioned travel and everything that goes into people having to coordinate to meet in one spot. Now, with everything that we have in this world, there are some challenges, and there are even some challenges that get posed when people decide to work together. Nothing is foolproof. For example, difficulty of communication. Open communication on a project is crucial for the successful and timely completion of that project. However, sometimes team members feel that they can't communicate openly or are maybe hesitant to communicate if there is no unified platform to do so. So if people want to engage and they have the desire and the motivation to engage, great. What they might be lacking is a place where they can engage, one place to share ideas and exchange comments, and that is a challenge of collaboration. If you don't have a platform where people can speak, then people are not going to speak, and that is going to hold the progress of the project back. There's a lack of a clear vision. Having an unclear goal is difficult to work towards. When team members are not utilizing their skills efficiently because the results is unsure, it can delay productivity and drain motivation. We need a clear objective, much like a train runs on the tracks and goes from point A to point B. Well, a project needs the same thing. It needs to run, there needs to be a train of thought, and that thought needs to go from point A to point B. And there's an oversaturation of ideas. Sometimes we will have too many members working on one task. This can bring progress to a crawl. Too many cooks in the kitchen. You know, if we can split people's responsibilities and have them hone in on what exactly they're good at, then we will have a cohesive project that gets streamlined efficiently. But if you have 10 members and half of them are focusing just on creating a title page, then you're not utilizing the skills of your team members efficiently. Okay, so let's discuss a couple of things. So what are some benefits and challenges you can think of when trying to use collaboration, or some other benefits or challenges that I didn't list that might come up? All right, well, some
Can you?
challenges.
Okay, yeah, okay. I'm listening to you.
Okay, all right. Well, I was going to say some challenges that others might come up with are, personalities. We all have different personalities. We all approach the world differently. Competition among members. People might have their own self-interests ahead of the interests of the project. They may want to make their version of the project look the absolute best in order to make the other person look the absolute worst, and that is not working towards one goal, rather just working towards one fixed personal victory. There's a lack of information or experience. There's a lack of resources. We don't always have the time and the resources to do the things that we got to do by certain times. So that could be a hindrance. Resistance to change. Not everybody likes change. You know, new ideas get incorporated. Not everybody is sure as to whether or not these ideas can be facilitated effectively. So there might be some pushback there. That's a challenge we can come up with. And lastly, poor morale. Not everybody wants to put their time, to put their effort into the project, and that could be a delay. Now, some positives or some perks, I guess, that we also have aside from the ones that I mentioned, where collaboration tools offer us the idea for new ideas and varied perspectives, increased productivity. It's just more fun. It's more fun to work on a project when you're working with somebody else. Some people like to work alone, and we understand that. That's very understandable, especially in academics. But it's easier, and it's a much better experience, in my opinion, when you get to work with someone else, or work with someone on something. Effective problem solving, innovative solutions, learning potential, and increased flexibility are all positives or benefits that we can take from collaborative tools. Okay, so what are some steps we can take to avoid these challenges? Well, we went through we researched. We can have clear organization. We can have an objective. We can have a goal as to what we're going to do, and we can plan things out, organize things ahead of time before starting the project. Why should someone use collaborative tools, even when they're presented difficulties? Well, that's a good question. And ultimately, it depends on what type of project you're going to be dealing with. But the reason why someone should use collaborative tools is, even if you don't want to maybe work with somebody else, a collaborative tool will keep you more organized. It will give you the abilities to structure your assignment, structure what you're trying to do, and lay it out in a way that works best for you. And then as college students, how can you use your collaborative tools in your studies? And I'll let you answer this one, Makende.
Okay. Understand.
Alrighty. So yeah, we can use these tools again, projects, lectures, classes, anything really in academia that requires two people working together. We can use these tools for. All right, so we are approaching the end. We got about a couple more minutes. So this is the
But
final question.
okay, I have a question. But what is the disadvantages of this tool? So
What are the
yes,
advantages of the collaborative tools?
yeah.
Okay, sure. So the advantages of using the collaborative tools are, well, collaborative tools provide us with new ideas and varied perspectives. So since these tools allow for people to communicate with one another from different areas and through efficient messaging, it allows for new ideas and for exterior perspectives to be inserted into the project. So more people can participate, I guess you could say. More people can contribute. It also leads to increased productivity. That's another benefit. If people are more productive, then they are going to be getting their things done on time. Collaboration tools allow us to stay organized. They mentioned Trello and Asana, how they have task management. That would increase productivity. Another benefit is, this could be a little subjective, but it's more fun. It is more fun to work with other folks on a project. Make sure seeing that everybody's on the same page, everybody doing their part. It does provide much less stress if you know that someone is doing one part and you don't have to worry about it because you're confident in their abilities. It provides effective problem solving. Collaboration tools allow us to solve problems effectively by communicating with each other and seeing where we can hone in our resources and dedicate them to solving the problems at hand. Collaborative tools also give us innovative solutions and the potential to learn more. So they allow us to expand our knowledge. They allow us to find ways that we can present our topics, present our projects effectively. And they also give us more flexibility. And I mentioned this with people meeting virtually. If someone can't meet with you physically on a Tuesday at 2:00, but they may be able to meet with you at home from their laptop in a couple of minutes, well, certainly that allows for flexibility. It gives people the opportunity to not be so rigid in how and when they have to meet, but rather they can coordinate. There's more room for coordination. Hopefully that answers that.
But you don't think also there's a lot of benefits. I agree with that. But you don't, when you talk about flexibility, but you don't think when people have have too much flexibility, they're not very interested, because I know some people behind a Zoom meeting, they're not very interested. So they just connecting, but they're not very connecting, they're not very interested, they're not very lack a lack of concentration. Lack of concentration. Yeah.
Right. No, that's true. That is true. The collaboration tool, it does give you more flexibility. That's very true. But at the same time, like you mentioned, not everybody is going to use their flexibility in a productive manner. And that is one of the negatives with collaboration, or more so with more flexibility to begin with. You do have the risk of poor morale. And this is something really that I think could be a problem with really any type of presentation. But in this instance with Zoom, you're absolutely right. A lot of times people will log on to the Zoom, they don't turn their camera on, or they may be sitting in another room doing something else, but they're just listening to the audio to act as if they're physically there, physically in the session. So that's true. There are, as you can see, benefits, and there are a lot of cons. There are some negatives to collaboration tools and what comes from them. So it's just a matter of weighing things out. Okay. So we got a little bit more. This final scenario.
Okay.
So if you haven't, there's an answer. There's going to be a Q&A session after this slide. So if you do have any questions, I'll take them there. But yeah, so here's the scenario, the exit scenario. So your professor has asked you and 4 other team members to create a project on the topic of your choice. You and 2 of your team members are present the day instructions are given. 2 others are not. Your professor has listed, quote, evidence of collaborative activity and communication as a criteria for grading. So it needs to be in there. Additionally, the project must include a video/audio component, a written report, and is due by the last Thursday of the month. So then the question becomes, which collaboration tools can we utilize in this situation to complete our project on time and fulfill the necessary grading requirements?
I think for the writing report, you can use Microsoft.
Right. Yeah, we can definitely use Microsoft. Microsoft Teams gives us the audio video component. That's true. Microsoft Office in general actually covers a lot of these bases. Microsoft Word allows us to type up the document. Well, that's not really collaboration, but Microsoft OneDrive allows us to share the document and have it checked out. And then is due by the last Thursday of the month. So that would be a project management or a task management application that we could use. A Trello and Asana would, you could use that. You could use Slack to communicate with others, Zoom, Google Meet as well. So ideally, the answer is a lot of tools. Any of the tools that we went over would be effective in completing these requirements. And that's the beauty of collaborative tools. They're very diverse in their use.
We say, for example, WhatsApp, it can be a collaborative tool or no?
Yes, it can. Absolutely. Yeah. WhatsApp can definitely be considered a collaborative tool.
Okay. That's nice.
That's very good. Okay. All right. So this is Q&A. Do you have any questions? Anything you'd like me to go over again?
Not really, but based on your experience, so as a student in the science field, so I'm a biotech major. So do you have any specific tool that can be done or no? Any specific tool that apply in the science field, maybe?
A specific tool that applies to science fields and majors? No, I wouldn't say a specific tool for science field majors, but I would say that a lot of the tools that we went over are very effective in putting together projects that would be related to that field or to those fields. That's more, yeah, that's more what I would say. These, I can't really say there's a discipline specific collaboration tool, but yeah, any of the tools that you saw here, they'll be of assistance in your academic endeavors.
Okay, I understand. Very interesting. The meeting, very interesting. So I've learned a lot. So I've never heard about Slack, so I have to investigate it. But as you say, you're gonna send me the link for the video, so when I have time, I can watch it again. Because I
Yeah,
think
yeah, absolutely.
I have to do a little report for my professor, maybe.
Okay, alrighty, yeah, sure thing. I'll definitely send you that video. I have your ID number here, so I'll just match it back with the username. And that's gonna be all, folks. I appreciate you coming by, McKenna.